Hey, what's up everyone? Time for another episode of Operation Steam Dream. This is the series where I focus on putting together a project and deliver it on Steam within as short as time frame as possible. This is the first, devlog for this series. I've already done the introduction, so if you wanted to check that out, I can link it below in the description. Otherwise, let's get right into it. Okay, so as you see on our Trello board, I've updated some of the cards. I've moved across our picking actual game card that I had in the backlog game stack before. So let's go ahead and open this up. So the idea behind this one is that we want to figure out what kind of game or project we're going to put together for Steam. And I think given what I took a look at my backlog of projects that I've done so far, and I've decided that I'm going to do something slightly different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together a project based off of several pieces of technology that I've put together for some of my other projects. So I'll try to explain. I've done several roguelikes, 7DRL roguelikes, and so I think what I want to do is put together another roguelike type of entry, but I want to do sort of a more arcadey type of feel to it, RPG arcadey. And so I think the next devlog will be just focusing on maybe the actual game loop that I'm hoping to put together, sort of the main pieces that I'm thinking of putting into this. So for now, we're going to just highlight maybe things like it'll likely be in JavaScript. It'll likely be using a technology such as Node WebKit or Electron to package everything up. And it will likely just be something like that, I use JavaScript every day in a regular day job. And so this way I'm not context switching too much when moving between doing work all day and then finding the time to put together this project. As you might remember, the initial timeline I gave myself in the intro video was 30 days. I think I'm going to try and aim for that as much as possible, but knowing that there's going to be likely a delay probably near the end of it. I don't know how long it takes for some Steam approvals. I don't know how long some of those pieces of this puzzle are, so it's hard to put an estimate right now on those. So with that in mind, I thought maybe 30 days is kind of realistic, keeping in mind that I've got 4 kids, full-time job, commitments, and that way, so even though when I say I've got 30 days, it's not like 30 actual working days. It's a couple of hours a day at most for a month. So maybe that translates into 10 to 15 working days. I'll have to put it in a spreadsheet or something. At any rate, so what can realistically be done in that kind of with that kind of time restraints in mind? So I'll put that I think in the next devlog video around the game loop. But for now, let's keep going in through some of these cards. So I'm going to take pieces that I've already put together for other projects and recombine them into something different, which I hope will be something that's at least a little bit interesting for someone coming to the site, to the Steam page for the first time. Okay, so in that respect, I wanted to talk a little bit about engine choices. I know that there's a lot of technologies available out there, a lot of engine frameworks, and with the actual 30-day time limit in mind, I wanted to talk about some of my decision making. I wanted to talk about some of the decisions behind the technology that I'm looking to move forward with for this project. I don't have any real Unity experience. So let me preface this section by just asking you, if you're going through this process now yourself, that this is the time when the the careful structure and setup and design work that you do up front is what's going to save you time later on down the road. It's happened time and time again. How many times have we all jumped into projects just itching to code right away? I know I've done it right away, right? And I'm guilty of that every time, a lot of times. And so what ends up happening is you see a path that you want to execute in code right away. At least I'm talking about myself, how I perceive it. I see a path of execution and I want to jump in right away and do it. And then I complete that. It goes more or less according to what I thought I had in mind, but then I encounter a lot of other decisions that I didn't anticipate and didn't really plan for along the way. So then I have to go back and either rip out what I'd already done, or even get myself into a corner where I'm not able to achieve it with the code base that I currently have. And so it requires a whole, either just starting over, which is annoying, or throwing away the idea and just continuing on without trying to implement some of the ideas. So what I wanted to kind of stress in this first video is sort of the idea of really taking enough time that you can on some kind of design theory and working through ways to really help set yourself up for success. And we'll be going through more of the technical things, I think, in the next devlog when I talk about the game loop. But for now, I wanted to actually talk about, just because everybody asks right away, okay, not everybody, but a lot of people are interested right away in what kind of technology you're using, what kind of framework or engine or library, etc. So I thought I would kind of start with that decision process right now and kind of just illustrate where I'm coming from and what I'm looking to move forward with. So first, I'm totally for engine technology. I think especially when you have a set time frame, if I didn't have any commitments, or if I didn't have any time frame that I wanted to move forward on, like if just it takes as long as it takes, then sure, I would look to do the whole thing on my own in C++ or C#, or you get the idea, making the whole thing from scratch. There's definitely nothing wrong with that approach at all. You can learn a ton doing that. You can sometimes the process of putting together a game or a demo is more rewarding than the actual demo itself. So if that's what you're looking to do, go nuts. I'm not looking to do that in this project. I'm looking to actually release something and in a set time frame and put it out on Steam. So with that in mind, I'm totally fine with going through some of the engine choices that are out there. And again, this is a time to be brutally honest with yourself and your own skill set and what you can achieve in the time frame you want to accomplish things in. We can all learn new things. We can all, given enough time and tutorials and just hacking away, banging away on something, we can all learn every framework, every technology that's out there. I've got absolute faith in everyone that they can do that, of course, totally. But again, we've got a time limit. We've got a 30-day stretch that I'm aiming for. So let's go through what I know and what I don't know. Okay, Unity. I don't know it. Not enough to deliver a whole project. It's a complete black box for me, and my main red flag for Unity is just when there is a problem, if you kind of go off the Unity track and try to implement something different and something goes off the rails, I would have no idea where to look for support for that. There's long-standing, okay, I won't get negative in this. Okay, so no Unity. Unreal Engine, that's out. I don't use that enough to qualify for that either. Godot, I really like Godot. I think it's a great technology. I just don't have enough experience with it right now to feel confident that I can deliver something within a short time frame. So that's out. Construct 2, another HTML5 game framework. This was on my list just because I'm considering HTML5. And again, I don't have enough experience with it to put it to the test for a 30-day trial. Perhaps in the future I'll I'll make a project just around Construct. Another one is Game Maker Studio. This is another fantastic engine technology that's shipped a lot of games, and I just haven't used it enough. So I'm not comfortable to set a time frame for picking everything up in time. BlitzMax, although it's insanely old, it can deliver. It still works. I just downloaded a recent version of it just last month, and it works out really great. Okay, so then what else? Okay, BlitzMax. It's another option. It's out there, and it's quite an old one. But it still works. I downloaded a recent version of it, and it still runs and does what it always did. Again, I just don't have a lot of experience using it for my 30-day time frame. So what I'm looking to do, I've ruled out everything I don't know, and what I do know is JavaScript. What I do know are technologies like Electron and Node WebKit. What I do know are things like our web tooling that are used in the JavaScript world. So NPM, Yarn, Webpack, Parcel, all those bundler technologies. I do know those well enough to at least get a proper pipeline put together for this game. I think JavaScript and HTML work well as well because it lets me put together a quick dialogues and like a user interface that I'm thinking of for this, which would take me a long time in just about every other engine framework out there that doesn't use HTML. So that's sort of where I'm thinking for the technology. Okay, so now let's look at signing up for Steamworks. Okay, we're going to shift sort of discussions about the actual game. So let's move this to our card. We're gonna add a card for putting together game loop prototype. Okay, so this will be put together a game loop prototype. It really, we don't have to worry about packaging it up right now, so we can avoid, skip looking at Electron or a Node WebKit for now. Let's just get something working in the browser. Okay, browser focused. That's what we'll be doing. That's what I'll be doing the majority of the time on local development anyway. It's going to be much faster for just being able to replicate, and it's going to be much faster just going through the code locally and debugging everything through the JavaScript console. Okay, HTML5. So dialogue. I guess dialogue and, I don't know, conversations. No, I'll just say dialogue and user interface framework. Okay, so we'll look at that on the next. That's all I wanted to say today on putting the game loop prototype together. I think stay tuned for the next devlog video, and I'll step through what I've come up with for the actual game loop prototype. And let's just take a quick scan of our board to see what else we've got on here and see if we can move anything over. Okay, so choose game for Steam. I think I've made it pretty clear that I'm going to put together something a little bit new, a combination of several projects I've got on my hard drive and in GitHub, and that's what I'll put together on the prototype next. So I think I'm going to move this over to done and delivered. Okay, nice. Okay, as for creating a business account for Steam and all the actual Steamworks side of things, I think I'm going to put together a devlog just focused on that and keep that its own thing. to help people sort of go step by step through the same process that I am, rather than combining too much into one video. So that's it for this episode of Operation Steam Dream. My name is Wazoo, and if you like what you see so far and want to see more, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. Have a good one, and we'll see you next time.